Boom. Yes, people. Yes, people. Black Eyes TV here once again, bringing you that real information. We got a nice special show this weekend, bringing you our brother Sankofa live from USA, UK, link up. This is what we do. Yeah, and it's a deep one today. We're going to go all over the board, but it's all about black people today, as always. Yeah, knowing themselves. Brother Sankofa, say big up to the people. Tell the people what you want to be talking about.
Peace, love, and light. Shout out to the people. Shout out to my people, my Africans in the diaspora over there in London, England. Okay. Shout out to Black Ice TV7 for finding it expedient to put your brother Sankofa in a driver's seat for this episode. You know, and I want to let the people know out there in London, England, your brother is gonna definitely take you on a ride of information. So strap in your seatbelts, okay? And much shout out to my peoples over there tuning in. Always support my brother. You know what I'm saying? Black Ice TV7. And I'm ready to go in. I'm gonna talk about a few different things. I want to talk about the purpose of consciousness, and I also want to delve into a little bit about the identity crisis or the detriment, because we know we have an identity crisis, but I want to go into a little bit of the detriment psychologically, culturally, and otherwise of our identity crisis, and what the ominous implications of what the future could bring would be at our disadvantage if this situation continues. So I think that will open up doors for other topics, and you know, I'm ready to go in. And once again, thank you for having me on the show, brother. Let's get it.
Big up every time. Big up every time. People, if you didn't know, get to know. Yeah, today is the critical examination of the determiner of the identity crisis of black people. Understand what that means. Take it in, let the words sink in. My brother is going to go in for you. First of all, yeah, tell the people who you are, what you do normally. Yeah, they may have seen you in the H.O.K family. I know you're the spokesman, but again, give the people a little backdrop to who Sankofa is and what Sankofa does.
Okay, definitely. Brother Sankofa. Can you hear me clear, brother?
I can hear you clear, brother, and I'm listening on the YouTube. It's coming through nice.
First and foremost, I'm a person, a brother who is just really motivated by my sincere interest in the liberation of black people. That's who I really define myself off first and foremost. Outside of that, different titles or positions that I hold as far as being the spokesman of the Sonetta TV, House of Consciousness, Black News 102, based in Harlem, New York. Your brother Sankofa is also the spokesman of that. I'm a brother who is also one of the many spokespersons of CTRBG. CTRBG is an activist group / martial arts dojo and cultural center in the community. I'm also a member of, a spokesperson, and a representative of that as well. I am a student, because the greatest teachers are students.
No doubt.
I'm giving you the real of what I am, not fictitious titles or titular titles that really have no real power in real time, but I'm giving you the raw. So your brother, what I am, is a student / master student, okay? Because I take study, okay, and critical analysis as it pertains to and a knowledge that will advance our people or bring us closer to liberation. I am wholeheartedly committed to that. So I'm basically a brother who is a spokesman, a revolutionary, a comrade, you know what I'm saying? And basically your brother on the front line. You know, I am not a Sufi. I am not going to call myself a seer. I am not an imam. And there's nothing wrong with these titles for those who have went through rites of passages to obtain these titles. Much respect due to you. But what I am is a revolutionary, first and foremost. Okay. And I went through different rites of passages in my life, going through different schools of thoughts, examining different critical analysis of different bodies of schools of thoughts and the information that they have, and going through trial and error, and then being an autodidact who was self-taught. And everything that leads up to everything that I'm telling you is the sum total of me being a brother who is real, revolutionary, militant, intelligent, and articulate, and ready to wake some of our people up with this information by breaking these shackles on the minds.
No,
So
so
any question you want to start off with, brother, you can definitely open the floor for that. We can go in.
well, a question that my friend asked me the other day when we was testing the mics and whatever and doing a little test and chatting. He was asking me, how do you fall on Kemetic science? Because again, there's all these debates, Hebrews, Kemetics, yeah, me, Shaka Mo's brother Jabari. Where do you fall on that? I don't, yeah, me really get into the religious debates myself. It's not my thing, but again, true, you have gone through certain schools of thought. We've seen you on many videos sitting down, chatting, breaking bread with loads of different brothers from many different denominations. But how do you fall on the Kemetic science? Are you down with it? Do you recognize that timeline? Yeah, are you with Maya? Is it just another school of thought to you? How do you fall on that?
A very good question, all right? And it does tie into the topic of what is the purpose of consciousness. Because I believe that um, basically consciousness will assert itself in different forms to manifest its own knowledge of itself, if that makes any sense. Consciousness will assert itself, all right, in many different forms to manifest its own knowledge of itself, meaning where you're at in your stage of consciousness or your level of growth is where you're at. And where I see the Kemetic science dynamic, right, is a school of thought. But it is a very important, critical component of where many of the other schools of thoughts, when you deal with spiritual sciences and many of the concepts and ideas and stories, right, that are contained within these different schools of thoughts, not all, but many of them, especially the ones of ancient antiquity, right? You see a definite connection or correlation with Nile Valley civilization, science, and spiritual systems. Okay, so and you see a lot of interpolations, things that have the same concept, story, idea, but it just takes place with different names, characters, in a different location. But the essence of the story itself comes from there. So I would put it in a perspective that I respect Kemet or Egypt, ancient Egypt, however you want to call it. I respect this great contributions that it's made to humanity by being among, not the first, but among some of the first of the greatest and classical civilizations ever built by our people. You know, I give credit where it's due, and I also honor and respect the principles, the moral universal principles that are contained in the Mayatic um, dynamic of the teachings of Kemetic science, you know, because within that, it teaches you order, discipline, and how to basically interact with your people on a socio-economic and moral level, which is basically culture. It gives you culture. And it's one of the first cultures, is one that has for many long have been written out of real respectable commentary in history as it pertains to us in a relation to who our ancestors were from there and the role that they played in history, right? So I think that Mayat and Kemet is a great thing to definitely ponder and know about as far as historicity is concerned. I myself see it as a school of thought, and don't get too caught up in, although I respect my brothers like Jabari, I respect brothers like Ra Nefer, I respect brothers like Muwata Ashby, you know, and many of the great other teachers who follow and they keep the line of tradition and edify and enlighten our people with the knowledge of Kemet. Me, myself, I respect the principles and try to follow the principles to the best of my ability in everyday real time, which are the just principles of living in the meiotic thing, which is balance, which is order, which is morality, which I don't have to read every day to remind myself that I have to be like. However, there are different levels or schools of thought or experiences that people do have. And I can respect the brother or sister who is coming into enlightenment through this Kemetic system and school of thought, and is getting them to change their way of thinking, of interacting with other people, their diet, and the way they see themselves culturally as a great people and the world around them. I respect it for that, and I give it credit where it is due. But am I a person who walks around wearing the Ankh? No, although I have worn the Ankh, and I will again, and I do respect it. But I respect all of the African cultures and traditions, and I understand that Kemet is just one of many great ones, and one of the most important parts and most important pieces of the puzzle. I do give that credit where it's due, but because I study history in its depth and its layers and how vast it is, and I see the greatness, how it ranges all throughout Kemet and beyond, as a Pan-Africanist, I can appreciate, respect, and give credit due to where it's due to all the African spiritual systems and schools of thoughts and sciences. So that's where I stand on that. I am Kemet because I'm a Pan-African. As far as my spiritual stuff, I don't have no certain religion that I fall under. Some people look at that, well, what's your religion? I am a Pan-Africanist. Brother Sankofa believes in the ideology of Black liberation, socio-politically, psychologically, economically, and otherwise. If your religion plays a part, and we know spiritual or psychological damage have been done to us along a lot of lines, if the spiritual system or the religious denomination or school of thought that you are a practitioner of is geared towards repairing one of the different areas of our psychology, or that we are damaged in, right, through religion, then I would definitely respect that as a Pan-Africanist and as a person who is dedicated to the mental, psychological, spiritual, and otherwise upliftment of Black people. So that's why I stand with that. I give Kemet credit where it's due, but am I a Kemetic priest? Am I going to sit there and debate about Egypt and Israel all day and what came from where and if the chicken came from the egg first? I don't do all that. I'm more preoccupied with trying to bring about, learn how, because it's a process of learning how. There's a difference. Knowing, because we're beyond the point of just knowing. We should be getting beyond the point of just knowing. And it ties into the point. It's not just about knowing. It's also about knowing how. Two, it's not just about knowing. It's also about beginning to learn how to. So I'm also preoccupied with that, and I respect the spiritual concepts and principles. Yet I even chant and meditate on things in my mind, and I use that as motivation and inspiration to gear me towards doing what I'm doing better. Because yes, we are spirits having a physical, spirits having a physical experience called life. So we do have to put things in a balance, or mayat. One of the examples of how I look at mayat, I'm gonna give it to you now. So within that balance of reality, we know that we are spirits having a physical experience called life. So we are spirits. So we also want to understand that because we don't know or see and can't touch everything, that doesn't mean that there isn't knowledge beyond that. And we shouldn't seek or pursue that. You have to be careful with that. And I'm going somewhere with the point. You know what I'm saying? Because there is many things that we're discovering about ourselves. We're digging up more bones. We're finding out so much about the world around us as we evolve and as technology advances. Information is becoming so more readily available, and we're beginning to have to broaden our scopes or undo different concepts that we did have on our mind, or put some new things on the table, or take some old things off the table. That's where we're at with it, okay? And that's where I'm at with it. So in understanding that there is spirituality, and spirituality is real religion, and the way a person decides to express their concepts or perspective is more so rooted in culture, their expression of that. All people, I think, have a natural inclination on the planet to know what it is, who we are, why are we here, what is life, the phenomena of death. Why do we have dreams? Why do we have deja vus? I think there is something innately in man that makes us want to tap into or attract to spiritual systems or schools of thoughts to feed that insatiable drive of appetite of knowing, wanting to know why or how in our mind, that is just like a phenomenon. So we are spirits having a physical experience. So we do want to understand that there is spiritual knowledge that we have to seek. We have to learn how to become practitioners, so we don't just become religious and we become nutty and we become crazy and we become everything that religion is supposed to make you transcend from. We become more entrenched in that by proxy. You know what I'm saying? And we also want to understand that there is a physical universe that we live in and that govern our existence. And learning how we relate with this physical universe, right, is something that we have to know too, getting more in tune with science. We don't need people who are just metaphysicists. Damn it, we need some goddamn real black physicists too. You know, there's a balance to everything. You see what I'm saying? So in this physical reality, we want to understand, ponder, and learn how we can advance in that. And we also have to understand that in the spiritual dynamic, because we're a balance of both, what we can do to enhance us, to evolve us, to make us more broader scoped and aware of who we are individually and our path and journey in this life, what we ought to connect to. And we also know that there's spiritual warfare that we're battling, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't fight white supremacy in real time on earth. You know what I'm saying? Or develop a stratagem in order to overcome that or gain or obtain liberation. But when you deal with white supremacy, you don't want to get so caught up in dealing with socio-political realities that you have to deal with, right? That you become carnal and you forget that there's spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're battling and we're losing on both levels. And I think it's definitely important or very imperative that we develop the knowledge, not just as a knowledge, but as a technology, something that we can use to our advantage to advance, evolve us, and make us stronger and greater as a people, opposed to just being believers and knowing, but not knowing how to. There is a such thing as a comedic person who just knows, but doesn't know how to. There's such thing as a black power person who is RBG, or you might be into Yoruba. You might even be into some other spiritual system in West Africa. You know, but the knowledge is only in knowing. It is not looked at as a scientific way or as a technology upon which you can implement to advance us. But those who do see that information as that and unify for the best interest of us based on that, I can respect all different schools of thought because I see the common thread of truth, right, that goes through all of them. There is just different expressions or manifestations of different things. The same way you don't got one kind of apple. You got a Macintosh, you got a Granny Apple Smith, you got all kinds of different apples. You don't got one kind of orange. Yeah, you got oranges, but it is not just one kind of orange. There's many different kinds of everything. So if that is the part of the universe that we live in, and as above and so below, and we are part of that reality of multiplicity, there's not going to be one expression of any spiritual system. But as long as there's a common thread that is geared towards liberation as a people, I kind of deal with that dynamic of it and try to unify based on that common thread with those who I can. So that Kemetic, Yoruba, or any other different Ifa, any spiritual system, because we deal with Kemet a lot only because that is what's popular, because the white man deals with that a lot. So we just deal with that a lot. There's other parts of Africa. A lot of us, we don't talk about Timbuktu. We don't talk about, a lot of times, we don't talk about the Ashanti empires, great civilizations. We don't talk about the Fulani, the Mosi warriors. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us don't even know about, talk about that. We're more consumed with what is popular. I call it pop information. Like you got pop culture, this is pop consciousness. So in pop consciousness, the predominant topic is Israelite or Kemet, because we don't understand how much deep layered and historicity goes into this. Before a concept of Kemet or Israel and after that. And those are just the facts. We can go into that another time, which is a good topic, but that is my perspective. And you know I'm a man of many words, so bear with me.
No, listen. The moment you start chatting shit, I'll be the first person to say, hold up, brother, stop. Whoa. That's what that's it. Every word you've been saying has been right on. I want to say big up to the chat room. They're starting to fire up. Big up to Mr. Spirit. Big up to Farouk. They got nothing but facts when you're talking, because they're feeling you. It's all about the alchemy at this point, as you're saying. It's about the
using it as a technology.
Implementation. That's the word I'm looking for. The implementation.
How is it practical? That's where we're at with it now. You mean, goddamn, the iPhone then advanced from the year 2006 to 2018 about 7-8 different times, but your religion, and I'm being euphemistic, hasn't. I'll like to say our religion should change every year. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we don't advance and add to and prove and validate their doctrines more. It just stays the same in an ever advancing world with information and technology around it that debunks many of those concepts and ideas that were considered spiritual, supernatural, or miraculous things or occurrences in those things. See, like I look at it like this as well.
Mm.
Math, right? You can say one in a different language. One is uno in Spanish. One is something else in Japanese. One is something else. But the concept of 1 + 1 is 2. When you build infrastructure, bridges, tunnels, when you make weaponry, even when you develop medicine, there are certain scientific laws or equations, right, and formulas that you deal with that is what it is everywhere. But see, with religion and doctrine and dogma, you can have your version and say, we Israelites. But as an Israelite, there are different branches of Israelites. And if you ain't the right kind of Israelite, you done lost anyway. So God's playing this 3-card Molly with you, where he flips the cards around real quick. You got to pick the right card or the right Israelite group.
Yeah.
And if you pick the right one, you're blessed and ye shall have eternal life. But if not, you're condemned to eternal rotisserie called hell. That's crazy. Because see, in math, 1 + 1 is 2 everywhere. But in religious dogma, because of the ego of man and because of how and why a lot of these religious organizations and religions and dogmas were formed for the mind control of man in the first place, right? We can have, because of that, these true components and realities of these doctrines. Because of that, you can have, you know what I'm saying, 1 + 1 is not 2 here. 1 + 1 is 2 there, but 1 + 2, 1 is not that here. This truth is something different. See, that's how religion, if it makes any sense, is. You can have a denomination of Christians, different kinds of that. You can have Islam. There's 73 different sects of that and subsects that we can't even count really right now. And every day they're growing. And there's different versions of the absolute truth. There's just not the absolute truth that is practical and functional. So I think that we need to put things in perspective as how it is practical, because consciousness assumes different forms predicated on people's level of consciousness or their growth or their geographical location or their culture, therefore their expression. As a Pan-Africanist, and the word pan deals with the collective, and understanding and understanding that collective means a multiplicity, I understand unity within the diversity of Africans. And that diversity is not limited to just language and culture, but also spiritual expression of things. So that's how I look at it. My thing first is for the liberation of Black people, you know, and it's going to come through many different ways. There's not going to be one one thing we just use to liberate us. Like there's just not one medicine you can take. There's not even one kind of just protein. There's no one nothing. You know what I mean? Neither is there one expression of truth.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like you've been chilling with the House of Consciousness now for a while, doing interviews, listening to debates, discussions, whatever. In this time frame that you find yourself in right now, yeah, and you know, we was just talking about Black Panther movie and the reactions to it and all the rest of it. In your mind, when you're trying to teach someone or give someone a pointer to like getting on the pathway to knowledge of self, when you're giving them that critical examination of the determinant, yeah, where do you start? What do you feel is the most important thing? Especially, like, let's start off with the young people. When we're dealing with the teenagers, let's start off there. Because we know right now music's gone to pot. Yeah, I mean, it's bare mumble rap. It's all sorts of stupidness and imageries going on. So when you're talking to the youth, where do you start off when you're trying to get them to recognize who they are or to kind of identify with understanding that they are African?
Wow, powerful question, man. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Well, we hear the word art imitates life, right? Right? And that is true because art is a very important part of psychological development of people. Art has many different ways in which it's expressed. So it can be expressed in the form of music and screenplay, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, people on stage doing a play or, you know, there's so many different ways to express art through acoustics, you know. drums and guitars and all these different things. So I think that inspiration can come in many different forms, and also so can manipulation. And we have to look at the dynamics of what music and movies have been used to a great extent as it pertains to um, not just conditioning Black people or maintaining the image or false narratives of Black people in the minds of others. You know what I'm saying? But also mono idealism. Mono meaning a collective one mono, and idealism meaning idea, and how the manipulation of media or television, right, could be used to propose agendas, to push ideas, to tap into people's desires to sell a product, all kind of different things. You know what I'm saying? To tap into desires that wasn't there, to make sure you have a desire now so they can push a product. Mono idealism is and it ties into the point. So as it pertains to the movie Panther, and I'm just giving you the tapestry behind the psychology of sound, color, motion, imagery, and storyline, how that's important. That's why I gave you the tapestry before behind that. And I see one of the most powerful propaganda tools ever created in the history of humanity is the silver screen, the movie controlled by the Jews. How they, in a good book you should read is How the Jews Created Hollywood. Very powerful book. You should definitely read when you get a chance, to the people out there listening. How the Jews Invented Hollywood. Very powerful. Okay. Now, the movie Panther is based on a comic book character, right? The comic book character is not nothing new. It's funny because a lot of the people that's going in on a movie, and everybody's titled to their opinion. That's what, as men, we do. We intellectually or we mentally spar. All right. We keep it respectable right here on Black Ice, though. But I'm definitely going to give you my perspective. And like I said, I'm going to put it in perspective. So when I'm all done, it makes sense, you know? So now with the movie Panther is based on a comic book character that was first introduced in 1966 as a character with the Fantastic Four. I believe it was, the Fantastic Four, created by Stan Lee. You know what I mean? It was a Black character, one of a few Black characters, and it wasn't many, especially back then. You also had the Falcon, I believe. You had what is his name? They just had this show, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Luke Cage is another Black character. You know what I mean? And the Green Lantern. The Green Lantern was another Black character. So these are characters that started to come about around that time. The movie just came out now. It's crazy how there's a roar over the movie, but the Black Panther character is something that's been out damn near 50 years. You know, well, actually 50 years, a little bit over. You know what I mean? So I feel as though like this, if there's a movie that is out, and you got to give shout out to the brother Ryan Coogler, who was a brother who was in his 30s, who with less than $1 million budget was able to direct and produce and, you know, put this movie out the way that he did. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the concepts and the ideas and the imagery that you see in there, right? You know what I'm saying? Was through the brilliance and the genius of a young Black man. You know what I mean? So a lot of people say, well, see, the Jew put the movie out and the white man gave us this concept and idea. Or the white man give you every show that you watch. Where do we draw the line, and where do we take something that can have value and use it as a catalyst to inspire ourselves to try to promote seeing ourselves in a positive image more and more all the time? You know what I'm saying? More so than we do, because we already know that there's been smear campaigns, right? There have been character degradation campaigns since the inception of the silver screen in Hollywood about Black people. You know what I'm saying? This is a fact. So when you have finally a Black director behind it, young Black man is making box office history. You know what I'm saying? But it was $250 million last I checked, and that was about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. You see what I'm saying? You have young Black folks, you know what I'm saying, kids wanting to, you know what I'm saying, imitate and emulate the African names and titles, and, you know what I'm saying, like the concept of wearing dashikis. You had Black folks going to the movies wearing dashikis, and I tell you, don't get me wrong, it was good to see that, but see, I've been conscious a long time. I've been aware for a long time, and I say this in all humility. So with me, I can go to a movie, see something that is entertaining, that is based in a fictional place in Africa, just like Coming to America. Zamunda wasn't real either, but we like Coming to America. You know what I'm saying? Movies, you know what I'm saying, inspire us. A lot of the quotes we say and the things that we do and things that we imitate, even in the Black community especially, be things that we've seen in movies. A lot of us quote things like "Bye Felicia," like from movie Friday. You know what I'm saying? The movie Scarface was off the chain. You had a lot of people that wanted to start, you know what I'm saying, getting into the dope game back then. You know what I'm back in the 70s, they used blaxploitation movies because this was right after a time of inspiration in the 60s and all that, when the Panthers and the Young Lords and the Mau Maus and other community activist groups in the Nation of Islam and many other people, you know what I'm saying, the African pioneer movement, you know what I'm saying? All these people was on the front galvanizing the people. You know what I'm saying? How do you psychologically lower the morale of the people, the image of the people, and get their children to look up to images other than the ones that they're seeing readily available in their community on the ground? You know what I'm saying? Studies show that Black children watch more television than any other group of children, specifically here in America. I haven't done the statistics over there on England, but I'm going to specifically speak about here. So being that we watch more TV, broken households, a lot of fathers not in there, there's a lot of different issues, not in every single Black home. We're talking about groups and we're talking about demographic collectives. You see what I'm saying? We understand that how the images put out when the Panthers and all that was out in positive movies, how they came out with movies like The Mac, Superfly, Nigger Charlie. Nigger Charlie. A lot of these movies are produced by Jews too. By the way, there was a movie called Nigger Charlie where for the time, Black folks didn't say nigga the way they did now.
Yeah.
Not like that. Not like the way they do now. They used to say nigga, that nigga crazy. Man, nigga, please. But now everything nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm a nigga, he's a nigga, she's a nigga, we some niggas. Wouldn't you want to be a nigga too? That's the attitude now.
Well,
but you gotta understand it. Really popularized and pushed really in the 1974 movie, I believe it was 1974, called there's Boss Nigga, there's Nigger Charlie, and all these different movies are showing you the big, bad, stud Black man. But you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing revolutionary about him. You know what I'm saying? But there are a lot of people who emulated the word nigga. A lot of people want to be flies. The movie The Mac, you know what I'm saying? With Goldie and with real pimps playing all in the movie. Pimps playing themselves, the Ward brothers. See when the credits rolling, everybody's playing themselves as a pimp. You see what I'm saying? Leading up to the movie. Colors, always negative images. If you ain't seeing us on the news being put over the hood of a police car and handcuffed, or you're seeing us on First 48, or our children are seeing us in some negative narrative, or even if you're old school and you're in your 80s or your 70s, when you was a kid watching Tom and Jerry, you know what I'm saying, and other different cartoons, Bugs Bunny, seeing the ill images that they portrayed Black people and the satire that they showed us and the inferior images. So we have a historicity in the history of Hollywood and the silver screen of being projected negative and being projected subhuman, criminal, pimps, studs, hookers, and things that are just, you know, persona non grata to the greater part of society or the world, right? So when you have a movie finally with the Black director behind it, this is the life of me. I can't get why conscious people, right, especially had so much smoke with the movie. I just, so to speak, with the movie, because I'm saying, okay, it's positive, it's inspiring the children. Yeah, we didn't expect this movie to be the will to reinvent the revolution of Black people. That's not what the movie was supposed to be.
Hollywood, come on, stop it.
Entertainment. But not only is it entertainment, it's culturally inspiring us, especially in these racial climate, this time we're in with all the racial climate that we're in and the things that we're seeing. We are at war psychologically, politically, okay, and otherwise. And we know that psychological warfare kind of goes, is the subdivision of that is the movie, entertainment, music industry. So therefore, if there's something positive being portrayed about us, I say like this: use that momentum the same way negativity inspired us. We imitated negativity for generations, and we've internalized certain kind of concepts and ideas about us that was given to us and perpetuated on the silver screen about us to not only ourselves but to the world about us forever. Now we're in a positive thing. This represents a paradigm shift. Consciousness. People are waking up to African-centered consciousness. You got this movie that came out the day before Huey P. Newton's birthday. who was a part of the original Panther Party, and the day when Dr. Khalid Muhammad made his transition. Shit, it came out in Black History Month. And it was something that was inspiring us. It was up to the people who are teachers, or who are supposed to be leaders and gatekeepers of this liberation ideology movement. See, when we see a movie like that, we could use that as technology or something as a catalyst to inspire. You don't keep them just happy, and then the next Nigga Jones movie come out and went back to sleep again. No, because we know that happens all the time. But I wouldn't say be mad at the movie. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, you know what I'm saying? Use the momentum and the pride that Black people have, especially at the critical hour that we're in now, to inspire us to keep using our art form to keep inspiring us to do bigger, better, and greater, and watch what psychologically happens to our children down the line.
Most definitely, brother. Most definitely. And again, we got to remember as well, the first line of any warfare is propaganda. You're always hearing them soldiers talking about winning the hearts and minds of people before we've even fired a shot. Yeah. So I'm just saying this is a long-standing war tactic that's been going on. You get me? Whether it's cartoons to films to television shows, it is a definite mental attack. It's the first line of defense that the white boys are using when it comes to breaking down how you see yourself, and again, connecting with your Blackness, connecting with your culture, connecting with your heritage, connecting with your ancestors. You understand? These are mental blockers that are put in place always. And again, just to your point on the television watching is just as bad here in the UK. You understand? Televisions are raising children across the world now, full stop. Yeah, it's all about the digital, the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's all at a touch of a button now. So definitely, you know, I feel you on that one. What was you gonna say, brother?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I remember, because I'm from Boston. Really, you know me from the platform in the United States of America, specifically in New York, is where. But I'm bred and raised in Boston, Mass, in America. Originally, I remember when the movie Colors came out. You remember the movie Colors?
Yeah, man.
I don't know who you are.
Colors. Come on, man. That's classic.
I'm in my 40s. So, like, yeah, the movie Colors, exactly.
We the same age, brother. We the same age.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you look young. It's a compliment. The question itself, you know, much respect. Black don't crack unless it's smoking. Unless it's smoking, black don't crack. Okay. But yes. So the movie Colors, like in my hood, where I'm from in Boston, the Dorchester, Roxbury section. Shout out to my block, Blue Hill Avenue. Shout out R.I.P. Uncle Cash, hip hop legend in my city, Boston. Wearing him on my shirt. He'd be definitely proud to see me on the show right now, reaching out to the people in England. But however, in my city, right, there was always gangs, or we had posses, we had cliques, drug blocks. But it was something about when the movie Colors came out. You know what I'm saying? And they promoted it. It was always these negative images, these niggas. You know, gangster movies wasn't out all like that, how they are now. Yeah. Gangster music and all that was like a new phenomenon. It was a part of the social engineering phenomenon, psychologically speaking. You could tell. Because when that came out and it projected blacks, you know, criminal, Bloods, Crips banging out in each other and based on a reality, you know what I'm saying, that was going on in Los Angeles, California, that movie had an impact on my hood. People just went through just having blocks that they was on to wearing team hats. Because then we noticed in the Cali, okay, they're wearing Raiders and Kings hats. So in Boston, you had Humboldt Ave Raiders. This is just because of a movie. Inspiration that over the last 3 decades have claimed the lives of hundreds of people in the streets of block warfare. And we're not going to say the warfare started because of the movie Colored. It was banging was there, but it intensified the momentum of the negativity in a community that was already a product of the social engineering and ills from, you know, desegregation and all the different businesses that left the communities then. And you know what I'm saying? The Reaganomics, the crack epidemic and all that. Then when you had the gangbangers started wilding out, semi-automatics just popped up on the streets out of nowhere. So by the time the movie Colors came out, this was fertile ground for a community, not just like my city, but many others like that, to start to emulate a lot of this. The crack was on the streets then. It was crazy. So they was wearing team hats. You had Humboldt Ave Raiders in Boston, Magnolia Street Steelers, you know, Franklin Hill Giants. You had people that was wearing team hats because, like the movie Colors, they said, okay, we got to step it up from just having a block or a posse to really being full-fledged gangs with logo that identify us. So when we come through, we up in a party or we show up in with a club or wherever, niggas know who's in the building. That's the attitude. And that became inspiration from a movie. Many of it, the NWA, when NWA came out. You know what I'm saying? People started drinking Old English 800. And Eazy-E started rapping about OE. No, they wasn't thinking about no Old English beer. Everything that Old English 800 started selling a whole bunch of 40 ounces of beers, more than ever before. And the murder and crime rate went up too. Inspiration through music and movies, a lot of times controlled at the root of that by the Jew. You see what I'm saying? But however, my whole point is going in again. We must use our art. Because in the word smart, S-M-A-R-T, smart. The word art is in the word smart. You see what I'm saying? Let me just put this right here. It's okay. The word art is in the word smart, S-M-A-R-T. We have to begin to start using that which was used against us and our creative capabilities within these different expressions, right, of art, to use that as a catalyst for those who are willing, and it only takes the micro to affect the macro, but use that as a catalyst to inspire different psychological repair for those who have been for so long psychologically damaged because of the imagery that we've been internalizing for so long, to the point when you point at a black doll and a white doll in 2018, when you got more black billionaires than ever before, many black graduates from colleges and universities than ever before, black women, one of the biggest educated group as a group now in America, recent studies show, is the black woman. But when you take a black little girl and you point at a white doll and a black doll and say which one's pretty and which one's ugly, the majority of them will still point at the white one. So with all our material, or with perceived material, academic and success, and climbing the social political ladder along different lines, we see that many other things haven't changed in our psychology. That's why we can have more black millionaires, billionaires, and owners than ever before. But collectively, as a people, we're in the same dire straits that we were in 1967.
Worse.
If not worse, because at least there was community initiatives to try to combat that and politically educate people. They were galvanized, even from the Christian church. We talk about how lost the Christians are now, and many of them are, but through conditioning. But however, the Christian church back then was more revolutionary than the Christian church is now even. A lot of the people galvanized as the front liners, right? And networking with, like when you had CORE and SNCC and all them, was galvanizing and mobilizing and working side by side with the black Christian who's on the front line, even though their methodology to a militant would have been looked at as something that is not expedient or in our best interest. That's another topic for another discussion. However, I'm just saying the dynamics have changed so much that a lot of our people were weaker along a lot of lines than we were before, even though we have the perception of material wealth now. Oh, there's a black president. You people can't keep complaining about what took place in the past. You have more black millionaires and billionaires than ever, because we don't understand that black folks, especially in America and in England and in Canada and in the Caribbeans, suffer an identity crisis. And when you suffer an identity crisis, right, you don't have in place certain cultures and traditions that fortify your children with a healthy psychological perception of themselves and the world in which they live in. So therefore they protect or they advance this culture. They keep it intact or advance it. You know what I'm saying? They want to preserve it. This is what they use, or they pass on as their children as an inheritance. So they have certain pride within themselves. So therefore, an East Indian, for instance, or Asian or a Latino can operate in America under the same system of white supremacy that we are, right? But still flourish because they don't have an identity crisis, even though they are dealing with discrimination, racism, and capitalism. We got to understand how important and critical the identity crisis that we are suffering from is having a deleterious effect on us, on long-term, socially, politically, economically, otherwise, and the detriment that we don't have to say is gonna have, that we see it's happening, and that we can definitely deduce that it's going to have even a worse impact in 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Look
Yeah.
at our young boys, want to be young girls. There are agendas around us. There is psychological, spiritual, political warfare going on all around us. And because we're still worried about things that really don't advance us collectively as a people, like whether the movie's inspirational or good or bad for black people or not, while we're worried about that, many of us are saying a lot of our people get distracted because of the Black Panther. I don't believe that the phone's ringing.
Don't worry, deal with
Hold on.
that.
I'm just trying to.
Yo, people, while my man's dealing with the phone, yeah, I want to say big up again as well to everybody that's supporting us today. Look, you can see my rough face once in a blue
Okay,
moon.
can you see
No, this is Black Eyes. You back? Yeah. You back on, you back on. Yeah, big up to the chat room. Big up to everybody who's asking questions. Keep the questions flowing. I'll try and get them through to your brother as we're talking. Like, share, subscribe, Black Eyes TV. Go back into our archives, look at some of the past interviews that we've done. They're live, there dives more information from more brothers like our brother Sankofa, who today is talking about identity, the critical examination of the determiner. Yeah, it's all about what you identify as. Yeah, my brother was just talking about us being starved of identity. So again, it's very easy for us to be fed certain imagery and take it wholeheartedly because we're starved. We're not fed anything positive. So it becomes a real problem. And that's what we've been chopping out over. So my brother's just getting resettled and then we shall continue to build.
I'm back. Can you see me, brother?
Yeah, I can see you good. I can see you good. Let me lock you in.
Little technical difficulties, but we back, people.
That's all.
What I want to go into, identity is very important. Identity is very, very important. I mean, there's a reason why there is a historic societies exist. There is a reason why museums and libraries exist to preserve the information of the history of a people. All right. If you go to China, they take their history serious. It is rooted in their culture and in their spiritual systems, therefore their psychology. Therefore, when they come to America, they don't have insecurity. Not all of them. Not saying there's no insecure Chinese people. Don't misquote me. Because we have some of them that do act other than they are, but they can afford to have a few tokens because they have something called cultural continuity. They have a Chinatown. They have a history intact. They got a history to the point where people all around the world respect their history and be like, damn, you got to give it to them. Them Asians are smart. That Great Wall is ill. They can dress in their garments and their attire if they want to have a Chinese New Year right downtown in any major city.
That's it. They got the juice.
Because they have cultural continuity. So therefore, their children don't deal with the insecurities of having to not like the way they look or want to be other than what they are, or see somebody other than themselves as the final truth or answer to any question of science or ideology of anything else. They don't have to worship a God that doesn't look like them. They don't have to not know their own language or only speak the language of people that enslaved them, right? Even though they deal with discrimination under capitalism and white supremacy and imperialism, and they have dealt with many different things too. I'm not saying that, but they have a better defense mechanism under these same oppositions under white supremacy than we do, because they have principled unity, which is called nationalism, principled unity, which is called nationalism, which works economically, politically, socially, academically. So if these things are levels of people warfare levied against us, and we have that kind of cultural continuity and intact, therefore, under the opposition, which is inevitable at this point in the history of humanity, white supremacy as a global or international institution, they are not ill-equipped to deal with that and yet persevere, advance their people in a world all right, in a society, in this country, right, where discrimination, capitalism, white supremacy, and all that is against them. So you understand something. This country is a capitalist country. So it operates a profit incentive at the end of everything. Everything is about profit here in this country. They have made it to the point where their identity and the cultural continuity that they practice here has become an economic stronghold, and block voting works in their favor, where it would be economically unprofitable for white folks to be just driving through Chinatown shooting down white Chinese kids.
Mm.
Even though they probably look at them and call them gooks, and we're still better than you, white supremacy. But
Yeah.
a lot of things and products that you live, these people are genius, many of them. But not only that, the best genius that they have is unity, because our people are genius and nobody more genius than us. However, they have something called principle unity, where it works politically, socially, culturally, economically. Therefore, that is their protection to a greater extent than ours. A people robbed of an identity purposely. Why would they take that from you? Why would they take your identity from you? This slavery here in America is a peculiar institution in that it is different from even the slavery that many of our brothers and sisters, our continental Africans, have undergone, where they dealt with colonialism, they dealt with psychological colonialism, cultural colonialism. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
But there's a difference. Chattel slavery took away identity. So therefore, Nigeria can still come here. Right now, studies show are the #1 biggest group earning money and advancing group here in this America, the United States of America. That's right. In the United States of America, it was the Chinaman or the Asian before. I don't know if it was the China or the Japanese, but it was the Asian. Now it is the Nigerian.
Yeah.
So they have been discriminated against. They're dealing with tribal warfare. They're dealing with poverty and disease over there too. They're dealing with white supremacy, right? Sometimes on a whole nother level than us. Chinese supremacy, Arab supremacy. But here it is, because they have identity as they travel abroad and the world around them, they have a certain kind of respect. Even if you don't like niggas or Nigerians, it's economically unprofitable to be just shooting and gunning them down, because they got block vote, group economics, and they contributed to a great extent to this system, even though they don't like them either. But see, we're people that can't be deported because we were brought here against our will in this peculiar institution of slavery, chattel slavery here in America. We were denationalized, deculturalized. Therefore, we don't have any identity. That's why we want to be everything under the sun. A nigga can't just learn karate. He got to be half Chinese. You know what I mean? Because we're insecure about ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't just be a little light-skinned. We all Native Americans. Let black folks tell them. Everybody, hold up. And we got an identity crisis, because if we all Native Americans, why wouldn't you ask the average black person in America specifically, what tribe are they from? They always say Blackfoot or Cherokee. You know how many tribes there are? Why nobody ever says Iroquois or Wampanoag? How nobody ever talks about Mashpee or none of them other things? Why nobody ever talks about these other tribes that nobody ever heard of that are real tribes? Because we have an identity crisis, and we're insecure about who we are, not having an identity and being labeled by other people, and then them using the media and narratives and religion and dogma and, you know what I'm saying, and literature and other things to perpetuate the false image, scientific lies and pseudosciences about the inferiority supposedly about us. Many of them because being taught this intergenerationally and not having an identity or traditions to hold on to give them rites of passages, manhood or womanhood, or pride psychologically in themselves. So as they go into a world around them, they carry that with them, because we don't have that like other people. You see us at the bottom of the totem pole here, and because we are a people that were brought here against our will, we can't be deported, right? So therefore, we are being systematically annihilated and incarcerated, because we were brought here to profit this place that was conceived in profit orientation at the root of its plutocracy and democracy in the first place.
No.
Therefore, you know how they say in the streets, in the hood, we say, the game hasn't changed, just the players. But goddamn, white supremacy hasn't either. Just the methodology in which they operate on. The deception tactics, the psychological warfare stratagems may have changed, and not even all that much. A lot of it's still blatant and in your face, more than it's been in the last 40, 50 years.
I'm feeling you, brother. Listen, let's go back on what you were saying. When we're talking about the Chinese and we're talking about other cultures, the
Yes,
reason why they're strong, again, going back to their landmass, their
that's
culture,
right.
their language. As a Pan-Africanist, yeah, and when you're dealing with people in the diaspora, as you're from yourself, in
Hmm.
America, me in UK, across Europe, wherever else we find ourselves, yeah.
Hmm.
Like, how important do you think it is to not only identify one as a group of black people, but two as an African? How does that fix in your mind when you're trying to tell people about this narrative? Like, how is important to you? Because other activists and teachers may subscribe to, look, as long as we're all identifying as black, we're good. We can leave it there. We know we've got certain Hebrew Israelite groups and certain others that don't even want to hear about no African talk at all. They're happy to identify with their other black brothers from Europe, from America, whatever, but they don't want to hear that African talk. In your mind, when you're outlaying the strengths and the weaknesses of our culture to others, how important is it to identify yourself not just as a black person, but as an African?
It's very important because part of the identity crisis is this, not just knowing that we have one, right? Because we do know that, that's why we're talking about it, but understanding how it affects us. And then how do we repair it? And if we know how it affects us, then it is imperative that we have identities that connect us, right? That give us an identity to stand on so our future generations become stronger and have something to stand on, unlike us, right? That's the whole purpose and functionality of this consciousness is to advance us, right? So that means it's supposed to give us answers and solutions. So it's good that you asked that question because now solution orientation has to be addressed, right? Not to say that I have the solutions or the lightning in the bottle, but it is something that we need to begin to discuss and use our higher faculties of thought and intellectual capacity to put these things on the table, opposed to talking about how great Egypt was. We're going to talk about how detrimental we about to be if we don't have an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important. What has to take place is a plebiscite. A plebiscite is, political action where is not necessarily any specific political party over here in the States, necessarily the Republican or Democrat, but it is something that the people basically, is the voice of the people, born by the people, their collective vote in and of themselves, them determining their own destiny, that which is in their best interest. And they bring this as action, right, or proposition to the floors of Congress. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean? We deal with it on that level, and we'll go to the Supreme Court rather, and we deal with it from a plebiscite, whereas we have to basically determine what it is that we decide to call ourselves as a people for different reasons, how it will affect you as far as politically and commercially and economically as you travel abroad, how it affects you here, having some kind of sovereignty and understanding how nations operate and how it benefits you to be a collective and not just individual people here called African Americans, but see themselves as a whole bunch of different things. A plebiscite needs to take place. Attempts of plebiscites did take place. There was one at the United Nations in the 1960s or early 70s that the Black Panther Party, okay, initiated, right? And what they tried to do, what the proposal was they were trying to put on the table was that because wasn't getting treated as citizens, and second citizenship is slavery, it's things like that. Under capitalism, a people taxation with no representation, where a people being taxed, but we don't get justice under those. So we're basically financing our oppression. So therefore, this plebiscite was said to have been to for black people to initiate black people to want to succeed from the union. You know what I mean? Try to get a land of their own, and in having a land of their own, to be able to develop identity, practice sovereignty, and for political, commercial, and economic purposes would give them some kind of stronghold or power of say in the global world around us that deals with trade and commerce on different levels. This is just the world we live in. This is real. See, when you don't have that, you become exploitable cash cows to other people who do have that. So the Arab, the China, the man, and other people, even our people in the Caribbean who practice some tribal identity, unity, stuff like that, can have stored the Dominicans and all that in your community, and you still don't. You know what I mean? So it is definitely important. And what we need to start to talk about now is what it is that we call ourselves. Calling ourselves African is cool, but we use that just now as a template because it connects us with Africa, which is a continent, right, of many different countries. And in these different countries, there are different types of people that have different customs, different cultures, different languages, different spiritual sciences, and what have you. A lot of it will be foreign to us, and we will not even be able to relate to it if we was to go to Africa. A lot of us go to the parts of Africa we can relate to, and that's great, and it deals with the richness of our history. But Africa gets very remote and different. There's some parts of Africa you might be like, well, damn, I don't know about this. I'm only saying that to say this. We can say we're African, but Africa is an ambiguous term. It really doesn't identify us specifically as a collective. Those who are in the diaspora in England, or those who are in the diaspora in the Caribbean or in America or Canada, who deal with chattel slavery, or who were displaced people who were denationalized. We have to have a plebiscite to reestablish who we are. I say Pan-African, and many people that I know that can relate to me say Pan-African because the term Pan means collective, P-A-N. The same way an Asian person has Pan-Asianism, to the point where if you go to Chinatown, it's like you're in China, in your town. They don't even have to speak English. They don't have to be able to concede to your cultural norms to interact with you to be successful. They can just deal with themselves. They got banks, schools, hospitals, libraries, temples, all that right in their own set. And a lot of the stuff that they get, America ain't making them Chinese products that you see them selling in their stores in Chinatown. They're getting it right from China to practice Pan-Asianism. So they can go to Thailand, right? They can go to Sichuan in China, or they can go to Canton in China, or Hunan, or different places, and get that which they need as products, right? And control the means of production. The people that control the means of the production of the products that they utilize to empower themselves come from their own people because they practice Pan-Asianism. Africa is the breadbasket of the planet. Getting to the meat and potatoes, why I'm saying that. Africa is the breadbasket of the planet. Everything that you need, from the best oil, uranium, plutonium, to the goddamn best coffee, to cocaine and things that you use to make a microchip, come from Africa. The breadbasket of the planet. Here it is. This is our homeland and the mother of civilization, period. But let's talk about us. Okay? Let's talk about us. That is our homeland, and there are different countries in Africa. You got some people blindly, man, we ain't no Africans. They don't care about you, and they know you're not the same people. But there's some of these people have Mexicans and Colombians on their 12 tribe chart who don't give a damn about you. So if we're saying people aren't their people because they don't give a damn about you, that is a weak defense or a weak premise to stand on, because blacks don't even like each other, but we're still our people. Caribbeans and Jamaica, some of them don't like Haitians. Jamaicans don't like Haitians and vice versa, but they're not the same people. You know what I'm saying? Many of us have tribal prejudices, or have been alienated because the practices that they've been entrenched in for so long is different from other tribes. So there's a certain prejudice or separation between different people. That is just how people are. You see what I'm saying? But the whole thing is why I tie into Africa, that being the breadbasket of the planet, and then different countries in Africa, like Ghana, okay, like the Congo during Patrice Lumumba's time, try to open up a way for there to be dual citizenship between blacks in diaspora, meaning in America, in England, in Canada, in the Caribbeans, in South America, to be able to come there to get land and to develop and help to advance in the advancement of Africa. This is not nothing new. During Marcus Garvey's time, okay, they were doing that, trying to get us to go back to Africa. Booker T. Washington, okay, was having people to come from Africa because they said they had the land, we had the knowledge. If we were to unify together, there's a lot we can do to pull it off. Not saying they didn't have the knowledge, or they don't now. Okay, many of them are very educated, but I'm saying this is what Booker T proposed and supposed then. You know what I'm saying? Many of them came to the Tuskegee Institute to study, okay, different engineering sciences and all that. These are people from Africa. So this is not nothing old. This is new under the sun. This is something that has been going on. In 1899 in London, England, shout out to London, England, and my RBG and my conscious heads and whatever school of thought that you are all out there, you know what I'm saying? Keep getting this knowledge and liberating minds, whatever school of thought you are and wherever you're at with it, embrace it and just grow with it, right? But right there in London, England in 1899, you had the first Pan-African conference. Am I right? Right there in London, England. You had Wilmot Blyden, and you had many other different people, Alexander Crumble, and many other people who were the forefathers of what we call Pan-Africanism. And it wasn't because we were just trying to call ourselves African. It was because we knew that we were already the descendants of these people in diaspora. They had the land. Other people are exploiting the hell out of the land and have been, the Arab, the Chinese, the different people. I don't got to go on to the whole list of the names. We already know who's there. Here it is. We have the ability to cultivate the land, to become enriched by the land and produce in the land to advance us in the future. These are things that are happening and have the ability. These are topics that are on the table right now, and it's not nothing new. Muammar Gaddafi and the Third Universal Theory in his book called The Little Green Book. Yeah, the communists, the Panthers used to read a lot of the communist material back in the 60s, okay? They had the Little Red Book. You know what I'm saying? So you had under the Libyan president, right, Muammar Gaddafi, he had the Little Green Book. One second. It keeps ringing. No, are you there with me, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
You can see me? Yeah.
It's got loud.
He had the Little Green Book. And in the Little Green Book, there's a third chapter called the Third Universal Theory. And in the Third Universal Theory, Muammar Gaddafi talks about how he wanted to finance certain objectives of blacks and of diaspora, specifically in America, because it was our time. It was a social phenomenon that was going to take place, and it was our time to rise up, right? And he wanted to assist in that. Whether you wanted to accept his assistance or not, or whether he was African or not for you is a whole nother topic. The whole point I'm making is the initiative to unify continental Africans, right, with the Africans in diaspora under the term Pan-African is not a new concept idea, and it's not a religion. It is something that is a political, economic, right, advancement and cultural initiative of a people who are displaced, who are brainwashed, who have an identity crisis, and who don't have power in the world, who are politically, socially, and economically impotent. This is something that could really help us step ourselves up and advance. And the people who say that they're Pan-African, it's not because I think I'm from a specific tribe, and I don't know where I'm from in Africa. I don't know which tribe and which hill and valley and creek I come from. And it's not even about that. But it is about we have access to land and resources, which is where the real riches lie and where real sovereignty lies at. And it doesn't mean we all have to go to Africa. And we understanding trade and understanding international trade and understanding and investments are and having representations of people who would be liaisons between us and America and the diaspora with certain people that represent best interest in Africa on that end. Because some of these crazy niggas don't need to be dealing with or talking to nobody anyway. They're too divisive, argumentative, and don't have enough information, have a lot of passion, or just would just burn some damn bridges anyway. So therefore, you have to have certain people who are in positions, who are trained, who are skilled, and have a sincere objective and incentives in mind in trying to build bridges and gaps and trying to make us more economically and politically empowered by unifying with the continent of Africa. Us having an identity is something that we have to come up with on our own. We can't say we're all just one thing. Didn't one boat come from one part of Africa to one part of America all at one time from one tribe? We were brought from different parts of Africa at different points in history. For those who like to suppose, I ain't no African, I'm an Aboriginal. We wasn't even brought here in slavery. Where's the ships? I would have to ask you, well, damn it, the Europeans been coming here for centuries. Don't think about the talk sometime at waterfront ships that they came over in, because they're not. You know what I'm saying? So that's weak. And then to say that, yeah, as Africans, right, people from that continent or landmass that is now called Africa have been traveled the world and have been to different places of the planet before slavery. But we have to admit that slavery did take place, because if it didn't, We have to admit, if you're just an Aborigine in America, and slavery never took place, right? What about the people in the Caribbean, South and Central America? How did they get there? Because slavery didn't just about from Africa to America. And you were just already an Aborigine here. How do you explain a Haitian with a French name? How did he get that French name? in the island of Haiti. Where did that French name come from? They was already speaking French. So by that logic, we were already over here on this whole side because slave trade never happened. So therefore, we have to take Central and South America out the equation. And we have then that leaves a lot of unanswered questions. See, the thing is, we have an identity crisis. So we want to have exotic names. We all want to say we're all Zulu. We all the tribe of Zulu. That doesn't even make sense. How we all are Moor when we know that the term Moor is a name that describes, it doesn't identify, it doesn't tell you language, it doesn't tell you pedigree, it doesn't tell you anything specific. It's a very ambiguous term that is a Latin word that only means and is synonymous with a complexion of being dark skinned. If you don't Google it, look it up yourself. And if you don't believe in Google and this is not the Google era, man, I'm a real scholar, then go look at some scholarship books and look up the old earlier term of what the word Moor means. And let me tell you, if it gives you a land, a language, and an identity. It doesn't. It was just the same way they called us collectively Negro, which is synonymous with being dark. When it identifies through their eyes, but it doesn't describe anything specific. It doesn't give you sovereignty, doesn't give you land, doesn't give you language, doesn't give you pedigree. So therefore, because we don't have this, but we have things like we're gaining a knowledge of ourselves. There's a reason why a phenomenon of African-centered knowledge, and not only a phenomenon, because that can just be feel-goodism, of African-centered knowledge is resurfacing, but information, archaeological information, receipts, documents, things written and etched in stone are readily available for us in this information era to be able to submerge ourselves in a non-romantic, well, even though people are going to be romantic, you don't have to be. That's just the nature of how things and people are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Real talk. Real talk. Listen, this is where. Yeah. We still here. Your picture's gone for a second, but don't watch that. We still got sound. We still live. People, throw some likes up on this video. Sankofa's been going in, giving us some nice information, breaking it down for the Black Eyes TV family, sorting out his camera right now, but he's still with us, giving us that perspective on what he sees that's needed for the Black community and why we're facing so many identity problems. You still there? You still with us? Uh-oh. All right, he's going to sort himself out. And we're going to bring that one back. People, I need to put the link in the back chat, for the UK USA link up for the Sarnetta TV Awards GoFundMe page. Please go and support us. We're trying to get over there for the Sarnetta TV Awards. We're trying to take some family with us. A nice delegation from the UK showing support, showing love for our Black community out there in the USA. So again, when we can put on our events over here in the UK, they also can come over here and support us, and we can create a nice chain, as well as eventually land in the motherland and start supporting some events, some traders my brother was talking about down there in Africa. Yeah, so please go look for UK USA link up GoFundMe for the Sarnetta TV Awards. Yeah, donate, help us out. We're trying to raise a certain money to get out there, to break it down, to show you what's going on, show who's being honored for the different categories. Remember to go to Sarnetta TV Awards website and go and vote. Yeah, for all my UK people, go and vote Titans TV. Yeah, he's up for an award. So, yeah, it's all good. My brother is telling me that his phone has died. Yeah, he's trying to get back on right now. So I'm going to see what's good on that. But again, today's show has been all about identity. Yeah, it's been all about some of the challenges we face when trying to identify as a cultural collective on who we are, net me, and what we're doing. We've touched on the Black Panther movie, what it meant for our brother Sankofa, some of his bugaboos, the fact that he constantly comes into contact with RBG, people who are irked by the film, even though it is a mostly positive viewpoint, obviously within the paradigms of it being a Hollywood movie. Let's not get that twisted. So don't expect too much from that aspect of the game. But yeah, it's been a good show. And when my brother gets on, hopefully we can deal with the second part, which is the purpose of consciousness. Um, what it means, what it's supposed to do for you. Um, what is the purpose? Because again, when we first started the show, we started off by talking about the alchemy, taking knowledge, turning it into wisdom, which means an application. There has to be a real time effect of what we're learning every day, all the time. Because as my brother said, we can listen to all of these lectures about Kemet, we can listen to the debates, but on an everyday basis, what is it doing for you? Is it practical knowledge that you can take, that you can use to create businesses, to protect your family, to teach your kids? Yeah. If it can't be worked in that way, is there really a point for us? Yeah, these are the factors that, again, this show I would like people to take away and really think about. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the key elements. My brother's trying to get back in right now, so hopefully he will be joining us again soon. Don't forget, people, share this thing. Share this thing. It's been a big live show. Let's see if my brother can get back in. Yeah, don't forget to go to Black Eyes TV 7. Look at the past interviews that we do. Look at our back catalogue. We did visit the USA before. We went to Sarnet's Uni conference, so there's interviews with all your speakers from over there. We've also got speakers from the UK. We've got loads of shows that we deal with relationships, family, your kids' education. So please go back, check out the backlog of videos, see what's good. And again, coming up soon, look out for Black Ice stores. Yeah, with all your products. Gonna have Red Pills products, Queen of Fuas, our brother from the UK, Marindina, bringing the cleansing. We're gonna have KT DVDs. We got books from the Armor Raw squad. We got RBG trainers. We're bringing all these products again in line with what we're talking about with trade. Yeah, bringing those products from the UK, from the USA, and from Africa all the way over across to Europe. All our brothers and sisters here, you understand, who don't get access to some of these things normally. That internet space will be up soon, so look out for that. www.blackeyestores.com. Go now, register, throw down your email, so as soon as things go live, the deals are up, you'll be notified first. Go there, go there, go there. It's gonna be big, big, big. Let me see if I can get my brother in now. And let me see if we can get him back in and continue this shout right now. Just bear with me, people. Shout out to Mr. Riggs who couldn't join me today. He's in the wind. We did start early. Shout out to Sarah. Yeah, for the lift today. Unexpected running with my brother. We had a nice build. Yeah, look out for more stuff from Mr. Sarah on his channel and coming more to Black Eyes TV 7. And he did encourage me more to do some bits and bobs with him. So look out for that. Shout out to Talk with the Titans again, doing his thing. Look out for more footage from my brother from tomorrow as he's down at Speaker's Corner, I would think, braving them cold elements. Shout out to Content Over Everything. Yeah, he's been putting in some hard work for solidly now for a little while, bringing some key footage, bringing some debates down at Speaker's Corner, bringing some black speakers. Shout out to Mr. OK, Mr. Dean doing his thing. Yeah, let me see. Come on, Mr. San. I'd hate to end the show there because I tell you what, I was really enjoying that build. Let me see if I can't get him in. If not, we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this show, most definitely, because it has been an enjoyable one, and I hate to leave it in the lurch as we are. Who's Hey Farouk? Who is Rap Raven? Who's this? Speak to me. I don't recognize that name. Who's Rap Raven? Yeah, you're asking me that I should get them on the show. Who's Rap Raven? And big up to brother Malik. Yeah, yeah. Big up to V as well. Yeah, doing his thing. Just joined. To all them people there that's just joined us for the first time tonight. Big up, big up, big up. I'm gonna give my brother a couple more minutes, and then I think I'm gonna cut this feed for today. See if I can't get him back up. As I said, people go and support Black Ice TV 7. Yeah, UK USA link up GoFundMe page is up. Let me see. Yeah, listen, people, he's having problems right now getting on. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap it up right there. We're gonna come back with a part 2. Don't watch no face. Yeah, it will either be later on or it will be another day. Yeah, but I want to say shout out to everybody that supported the show this evening, participated in the chat room. Yeah, we will be back. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support. This has been another Black Ice TV production. Big ups, everybody. We're coming back soon. And look out for shows next week before we go. We're going to have the likes of Ngozi coming on Touching the Base. Uh, a young lady with her own talk show promoting her event and talking about what she does. Kaz, that will be on Monday. We should have some black authors coming on as well next week on a new segment where we're going to be dealing with the arts and culture. So anybody from spoken word artists to book authors, theatre production, you name it, we're going to try and have it on and again promote those aspects of black excellence. So look out for that. Black Eyes TV in the house once again. Like, share, subscribe. You know what time it is. This is Brother Richie. Peace, 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 people. Peace, peace, peace.